Alright, first off, allow me to make a correction. In the video about Morph and Mystique, I referred to both the comic book and animated version of Morph as he. But it's a fact that X-Men 97 Morph uses the pronouns they, them. That somehow got lost in switching between the two. That's not an excuse, of course. Just making it clear, we respect everyone down here at the review desk. Thanks again to everyone who pointed it out. That's how we learn from each other. And now, in a previous video, we took a look at Copycat, a shapeshifter, even more impressive than both Mystique and Morph. You'd think that makes her the cream of the crop when it comes to metamorphs, but there is an absolute unit who doesn't need to come for the crown. It's been hers all along. Welcome to the review desk. I'm Desmond Carrick, and today, Meggan kicks things into high gear. If you don't read comics, you've probably never heard of Meggan Pucciano, aka Gloriana, and even then, chances are slim since her adventures are mostly confined to the British corner of Marvel books in either Captain Britain or Excalibur titles. Which is a real shame because Meggan is a very, very interesting character. Meggan is a mutant, but she also has fairy lineage. She can trace her powers back to a place called Otherworld, a dimension of pure magic and wonder where fantastical beings like dragons, minotaurs, and her race of fairies reside. Her powers include superhuman strength, which can be enhanced to over 100 tons, superhuman durability, sufficient to take a beating from Captain Britain and not get staggered, elemental manipulation, with which she can control the elements to the point of creating powerful tornadoes, energy blasts, flight, and the ability to draw energy from the earth or any other realm to augment her existing abilities. Due to her fairy heritage, she can manipulate magical energies and cast spells. She's also an empath, which allows her to sense the emotions of those around her, including animals and even plants, but also to broadcast her own emotions as to influence others. This empathy also grants her the ability to break others free from mental control and to understand any foreign language they may speak. This empathy acts as a sort of spider sense, as she can tell when someone's lying and sense if they have sinister intentions. She uses this empathy in combination with powerful shapeshifting skills to take on different emotion-fueled forms, such as transforming to a werewolf when she's in danger, afraid and angry, and needing to fight back. She also uses this to adapt to any hostile environments, like when she was stuck on a highly polluted alternate Earth and changed into a creature with the physiology to handle the place. Because her powers are not just genetic but magical in nature, they're a force to be reckoned with. Meggan was born on a cold night amongst the Roma people, and she instinctively grew fur to keep herself warm, which means she's been shapeshifting before she could even walk. However, her shapeshifting abilities were not only influenced by necessary adaptation to survive, but also by the emotions of others around her. And the emotions elicited by the use of her powers were mostly fear and prejudice. People considered her a demon, and as a result, she would often shapeshift into what they thought a demon would look like. You see, as a child, her powers acted mostly on reflex. Because of the ever-growing paranoia of others, her parents decided to keep Meggan sheltered from the outside world as much as possible. This meant she didn't have many necessary experiences, both social and physical, and much of her education came from the television. She would sit in front of the tube for hours and watch shows like Doctor Who. At least she had taste. She initially maintained a frightening form of a winged, fanged creature because her mind convinced her that if everyone thought this was her true form, it actually must be. After she meets Captain Britain, she learns more about herself and becomes more confident, resulting in her adapting a more human form. And what a form it is. Yeah, boy. Together with Captain Britain, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, and Rachel Summers, she forms Excalibur and would go on to have many adventures. So, how does she rank compared to other shapeshifters? We've established that Mystique can alter her appearance right down to identifying features such as fingerprints and retina, and Morph is a step ahead of her since he can copy physical attributes but not mental and internal powers. Copycat is able to duplicate powers either through touch or prolonged presence in a person's immediate vicinity. Meggan has no such limitations. Because of her connection to the planet, she has vast knowledge of any being present or extinct, real or fictional, including all of their abilities. She can easily duplicate superhumans and their powers within a split second. She's even turned into Godzilla. But her transformations are more than skin deep. Remember when I said she could shapeshift into a werewolf? That includes a werewolf's supernatural traits, able to tear through many materials and even turn others into werewolves. She's got many more feats to her name. When fighting Jamie Braddock, a reality warping mutant, Meggan was given knowledge of the X-Men and their powers by Rachel Summers. She put this to use by shapeshifting into multiple different X-Men in quick succession. She also proved that, despite her lack of a formal education, she's still highly intelligent. While changed into Dazzler and attacking Jamie, the villainous mutant removed sound from the battlefield. Since Dazzler's powers convert sound into energy, her attacks were rendered useless. But instead of panicking, she quickly shapeshifted into Havoc, a mutant who draws upon ambient cosmic radiation, and blasted a hole through Jamie. He then turned off the stars around him. No cosmic radiation, no blast energy, right? No problem for Meggan, as she proceeded to transform into Storm and blast the cocky Jamie with a powerful lightning bolt. Clever girl. She has even faced the great Galactus, drawing massive amounts of energy from the planet and growing to the mighty being's stature to face him. Did you hear that? Galactus. Galactus. We can almost stop the video right here. Galactus. It should be noted, however, that as Rachel Summers pointed out, even if she drained the Earth of all its energy, she'd still be no match for the likes of Galactus. But she's still a powerful hero. She matched Juggernaut and pummeled him with his own strength, channeled She-Hulk's strength in a fight, defeated a stronger version of Captain Britain that he himself couldn't put a dent in, and even grew powerful enough to stop a universe-ending energy wave. She's even copied Sandman's abilities with such control, it took another character by surprise. Also, unlike Copycat, Meggan can copy the powers of anyone she wants without needing to be anywhere near them. These powers, while awesome, weren't always easy for Meggan to control. The fact that she lived a sheltered life didn't help either, as she wasn't aware of certain social norms, such as barging in on a teammate Nightcrawler while he's taking a bath, or lashing out at friends, or becoming so dependent on Captain Britain that even minor disapproval would hurt her feelings. She would often shapeshift either involuntarily or simply allow her powers to change her. When she feels unwanted, she turned ugly. It didn't help that Brian was a jerk to her for a while. Better be careful, man, might just lose your girl. If men lusted after her, she'd mirror that and lust back after them, such as when Excalibur teammate Nightcrawler developed feelings for her, and being around him made her reciprocate those feelings, at least temporarily. When Captain Britain was thought dead, Meggan sank into depression and transformed into sentient water by a fountain, where she would silently spend her days, demonstrating her ability to shapeshift into any element. She also was at risk of becoming too much like the person she was emulating. When she transformed into X-Man Wolverine, she noticed she suddenly took a liking to smoking cigars, because that's a habit that Wolverine is fond of. Her empathy also meant she could be influenced by the negative aspects of an environment, such as during the Inferno event when New York was infested by demons. Her powers drew on these evil energies and transformed her into the Goblin Princess, as she became an ally to the demons. She has since gained much more control over these abilities, no longer leaving herself at their mercy. She's destroyed demons, refused to be crippled by self-doubt, and because Otherworld, a place of magic, is her home, she's exponentially more powerful there, which means she could potentially match beings like Galactus when on that enchanted soil. Because of always being influenced by the emotions and perceptions of others, she never knew what her true form was for a long time. But after much growth and meeting another magical being, her true self was revealed, and she was stronger than ever. Broadcasting her emotions is another skill she's gotten very capable at. In one battle, boosting Captain Britain's fighting powers by channeling hope to him and despair to their foe, effectively making that foe weaker. Kind of like a paradigm shift in Final Fantasy XIII when you set party members to both synergist and saboteur. Even though she's dependent on the energies around her, her greatest feat was performed when she was sent to hell. She was overwhelmed by anger and depression while there, and proceeded to influence demons around her with said emotions. She built an army and traveled across the infernal realm to spread her anger. But then, she allowed herself to hope. She latched on to Brian Braddock, her beloved, and the hope that brought her was spread across hell, forever changing everyone there. Even though she was in a realm where hope was non-existent, she was able to draw upon her own emotions and broadcast them. So impressive was this feat that the denizens of hell dubbed her Gloriana. Realizing she'd never pick a code name for herself, Meggan happily accepted her new moniker. As long as she has enough energy to draw from, mass is but a small matter. Get it? And so is the limit of power she can duplicate. In one battle, she changed into the Human Torch and the Silver Surfer quickly after. Even though she couldn't match Galactus' vast energies, she was fully powered as a surfer and ready to take down fools. When a number of her teammates were slain in an alternate dimension, she tapped into that world's energies and, along with Rachel's Phoenix powers, was able to successfully resurrect everyone. Mystique does have a century, if not longer, of expertise and is an excellent spy, but with the proper training, Meggan could surpass her. She's gone undercover when helping the police and even gave Captain Britain a few pointers, most of which she picked up from television shows. If she needs to track someone by scent, she transforms into a werewolf and relies on their keen sense of smell, but she can take it one step further. Aside from controlling the elements, Meggan can also use her connection to a world to tap into the entire ecosystem, allowing her to track anyone, anywhere, on any world. If that's not a master spy, I don't know what is. It can be debated whether beings like Apocalypse, a mutant who has complete control over his molecular structure, are superior shapeshifters to Meggan. His control allows him to grant himself additional powers as well. We also know that he could take on the appearance of others, but he simply chooses not to do so, because he wants his enemies to know who they're dealing with. And while alien races like Skrulls are incredibly skilled with their shapeshifting, the fact remains, they can't duplicate powers. Even the Impossible Man and his fellow Pop-Upians, who can transform into functional spaceships, have a limit to the powers they can copy, and they have a huge limitation in that they can't change color. They are also stumped when it comes to elements like adamantium, vibranium, or the uru that makes up Thor's mighty Mjolnir, which means Meggan can be ranked as one of the best, if not the best, shapeshifters in the Marvel Universe, one we need to see more of in any form. Do you have a favorite shapeshifter? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.